Ragatha's the cheerful one, Gangle's the sad one, Kinger's the crazy one, Zubal's the grumpy one, and you are the one who hasn't figured that out yet.
Okay, but like, how much of that is actually true though? Ever since I started watching the Amazing Digital Circus, I noticed one thing that absolutely blew my mind away. Subtlety. Which, honestly, after watching a lot of the other indie animated shows around this time...
For what? You want me to be like, oh, sorry, this entire time I assumed the worst because I was convinced a prince could never love someone like me and I let my self-hatred stop me from apologizing to anyone I could never care about?
Let's just say that I did not have much to expect from the aspect of storytelling around here. But the Amazing Digital Circus seems to be one of the few shows around here that isn't scared to let its audience understand by themselves. And that brings us to the scene that I want to analyze in this video.
We all just became archetypes. I at least have the self-awareness to choose who I am.
In here, JAX seems to claim that everyone are just their stereotypes. Just some cartoon characters, one-dimensional. And guess what? The show never tells us that he's wrong. It shows us. Take most anime or anime-inspired medias for an example. For some reason, these guys can't go 2 seconds without explaining every plot point, every joke, and every character's feeling and what they're doing at every single moment. A character in an anime can't just get surprised. They have to scream at the top of their lungs that they are indeed surprised. They can't just trust that you get the joke. They have to scream what the joke is, what it was, and how it's funny. And that really takes most of your audience out of the experience now, doesn't it? Take this as a rule of thumb in every show you watch. The more you say something out loud, the least that your audience would do it themselves. If every Yu-Gi-Oh character screams that something was unexpected, then the audience wouldn't be impressed by it. If every isekai screamed that their main character is cool and badass, then the audience would just roll their eyes at them. And if Bakugo is being put in a complicated and amazing scene, one that was so good it had me analyzing how complex it was to the point where I was falling in love with it just to have the bloody characters in the show explain the hell out of it to oblivion and beyond, going to embarrassing details of how the character thinks or feel. Then you'll make me cringe so hard that I might just click out of the show entirely, just like I would do with a stupid short video on YouTube. Wait, where was I? Alright, Bunny Boy.
Oh cool, I'm not a vegan anymore.
Oh, hey! Wait, what are you...
Take Ragatha for an example. JAX says that she's the cheerful one, but the show, cleverly enough, exclusively shows her in her lowest moment and more depressed moments in this episode, showing us rather than telling us that JAX is bullshit. JAX says that Gangle is the sad one, but what do we see in here today? Laughing maniacally, smiling grin to grin, and even getting out of her shell to bond with Ragatha and Kinger in the loser corner. Zubal is supposed to be the grumpy one, so why are we seeing her go out of her way to give another character hope? Why JAX? The show, in a genius enough move, picked this episode exactly, the episode where JAX names what everybody does, to have them do the exact opposite of what JAX says at every given moment. Coincidence? Obviously not. The show's subtlety even extends past its character development. We do not have to be yelled at that K and A stands for Cain and Abel, because the show never tries to hide it. It just has enough trust in its audience to figure it out for themselves. The show never felt the need to say, oh hey, Kinger is in the dark now, so he's gonna be not crazy anymore. It just went normally about its business and just naturally knew that its audience would not be dumb enough not to miss that part. That also serves double duty as a dick on JAX's point, by the way. He says that Kinger is crazy, but in the same episode, here we are. This kind of thing is everywhere in this show. JAX shoots Pomni in the back accidentally while trying to have fun. It's never said out loud, but it's obvious that this is just the show showing us that even in the rare moments where JAX isn't trying to hurt someone, his actions still have consequences for those around him. Even if in the moment where JAX is trying to be friendly, even when he's apologizing for it, Pomni still lost a life. Gangle is still scared of him. Zubal still hates him. And Ragatha is still losing her mind over it. And it even goes further beyond later with Gangle, showing us that his actions are literally traumatizing the poor girl. And you know what? We're just beginning. Take the most prominent part of this entire debate real quick. JAX's tail.
You don't have a tail?
What are you talking about? Yes, I do. What the? Where's my tail? How long have I not had my tail?
I have never seen you with a tail.
When would that have even...
Never at any moment in the show did we ever see him have a tail. But then, suddenly, he started to have an actual connection with Pomni, a connection that forced him to open up himself, even if it's just for a little bit more. And then, lo and behold, his tail is back. And do you want to know what's the best part about all of this? The show never once brings light to any of this. It just leaves clues for its audience and chooses to have trust. See, that's the word in here. Trust in its audience to figure it all out. Kinda reminds me of the Owl House now that I'm thinking about it. An entire story told in the background with just little hint here and there or nothing more than it. Though, if you want to be fair about it, the Owl House was forced to do it that way due to its knowing that it's about to get cancelled because Disney hates gay people, while the Amazing Digital Circus just does it because it's a narrative choice. And the best part is that this isn't really all that hard to pick up on. As much as I say, oh, the Amazing Digital Circus has trust in its audience, I can't really mean that other shows have zero of that set trust. Take Persona 5 for an example. Lovely game. One of the best games of all time. It's even in my top 5. But, good lord, does that game treat its audience like toddlers. Every joke, twist, revelation, and story beat has to be overly explained to the player. Just because this game is so scared that you wouldn't pick up on something, they cannot show us that someone is traumatized. They had to spend 2 good minutes explaining that he is in fact traumatized. Did I mention that he's traumatized? Oh, I must have forgot, my dear player. Let me remind you that he is traumatized. أتمنى إنه ده ما يجيك عنصري، لكن المشكلة إنه دي في أغلب البرامج اليابانية. اليابانيين قاعدين يدخلوا شنو؟ Subscribe! But now, with all that in mind, take the Amazing Digital Circus, on the other hand. Take a look at this real quick without me explaining anything to you. In episode 5, we see Jack staring at a door with a crossed picture of a frog in it. In episode 6, we see Jack stare at it again after the show had already shown us that he got his tail back. Then, and just as he's starting to bond with Pomni, we see him push her away in the most aggressive we've ever seen him act. So, can you figure out what happened there? Because this isn't rocket science, the show never felt the need to beat us over the head with it. Jax obviously had a friend in that frog over there back when he used to have his tail. In other words, back when he wasn't a total jackass. But then, when that friend got abstracted, Jax was devastated. And just then and there, he had the realization he would do anything in his power to not get hurt like that ever again, even if it meant hurt everybody around him. Because this scared fuck's fear of getting hurt far outweighs his fear of hurting others. So, he has closed his heart to the people around him, he shuts down his doors to his own feelings so he wouldn't get hurt. And by proxy, it shuts down his doors to the feelings of those around him so it wouldn't hurt him even if they got hurt. Just like losing his friend in the past did to him, causing him to lose his tail. A physical change in his outside look to represent his loss in the inside, that also leading him to naturally seek out other suffering, to push them further away and to close himself more and more, just like the show chooses to show us with Ragatha and Gangle.
Yo, Jax. I, hate you, but I don't want you to hate me. Is that weird?
It's Jax, though. He probably wants revenge. And he's gonna make it painful.
And all of that is in the service of just one purpose, to make sure that he, and only he, is safe. But then comes Pomni, a person that didn't yet hate his guts, a person that for once reached back when his door was open. And so, what happens? His tail returns, the one symbols of his connection to others, the one bone that the show was willing to throw at us, because all of this is just in plain sight. Like yes, the show does from time to time give us hints like this one.
Do you have any actual friends?
Not anymore. Oh, wait, no. I'm sorry. I wasn't talking about that. That wasn't meant to be,
But it never once goes full Japanese and spells it out for us. Okay, maybe I should stop with the racism against the Japanese. I mean, they created Attack on Titan after all, and that's one of the most subtle things I've seen in my entire life. Then again, is it really racism if you're racist against the people that made Rent-A-Girlfriend? Okay, so I didn't have a great segue to end this bit, and I don't want to waste your time, so I'll make this real quick. First of all, if you like this, subscribe. Second of all, I had no natural segue to make these points while I'm making this video, so I'm just wrapping them up in a bundle with a lightning round. These are the stuff that has something to do with subtlety in the show, but are more of Easter eggs than anything else. Okay, go. The pile of guns that Kane has shows Uzi's rail guns from Murder Drones, another show that Glitch had made. We see CNA everyone in the show, plus in episode 1, another episode 5 with the logo being changing reality, hinting at the whole inside universe thing. And it literally gets spelled out in episode 6, with CNA obviously standing out for Kane and Abel, as shown painted on Jax's gun right here. And I'm a little embarrassed about this, but I just got the whole Daisy Bell thing, it being the first song in human history to be sung by a computer. Like, how genius is this? And lastly, while this one isn't confirmed yet, the show keeps making a habit of pointing its finger on Kinger. Pointing its finger on Kinger. That's a sentence. First of all, they show us that he has a background in programming, which is convenient if nothing else. He's the one that's been here the longest, which is also convenient. Kane had no way of knowing that Kinger would be the one to go in the scary place in episode 3. So, how come he still has the adventure be about his wife, even though he claims that originally it was for Zubol and no one else? Also, this guy just seems to be able to manipulate the code out of nowhere, literally making a butterfly Kane style that could actually affect the world around him. Like, what's that all about? And his name is literally King. So, yeah. The whole Kinger is a programmer on this game theory. Game theory. Doesn't sound that far-fetched anymore. But hey, that's just a theory. A game theory. What's up, Mama? Out.